But first, if we're serious about social cohesion, shouldn't we insist that children speak English at preschool? Teachers have complained in an online chat group that increasing numbers of kids are speaking foreign languages at kindy, excluding white children and creating racial enclaves in the playground. Now, literacy experts disagree that this is a problem. They say bilingualism is a gift, and the Australian Early Years Learning Framework actually encourages teachers to sprinkle mother tongue vocabulary around the classroom. But I would have thought teachers should be insisting that kids speak English, to set them up for success in Australia, where, after all, these kids live and English is the national language. By encouraging migrant children to speak languages other than English, aren't we setting them up for failure and setting the nation up to become one of parallel societies, Caleb?
Look, I understand that if you've got young kids and they're speaking another language at home and they're going to school with their mates who speak the same language, they may well want to do that and probably feel quite naturally that that is something they would do. But I think the broader point, which was correctly raised by a woman who raised this online, is that surely if you go to a school in Australia and English is the national language, then the first thing you should be doing is speaking English. And is it not somewhat ironic that we say in the name of inclusion you must let people speak another language at a school that is then necessarily exclusive for a number of other kids in the name of inclusion, but that makes other kids feel excluded? It's not as though 3-4-year-olds going to kindergarten who may also speak a foreign language don't also know English. I mean, unless they're literally fresh off the boat and don't know any English. These kids have probably been born in this country and raised with English at home as well as whatever their mother tongue is, so they have the ability to speak English. And surely you can explain in those circumstances to the kids that actually, in the name of inclusion, it would be nice if you, in the playground, spoke a language that the rest of your classmates understand, because we're in Australia and we speak English.
I actually disagree with you. I don't think a lot of these kids would even be able to speak English. When you look at the rise of households who exclusively speak foreign languages, there are parts of Sydney and Melbourne and capital cities where it's a growing proportion of households. And so if you're a 3-year-old child, you've had very limited exposure to the world outside of your immediate family, there is every possibility you are having children showing up at childcare, at preschool, who cannot speak English. But that actually increases the importance of enforcing English in preschool, because it is a lot easier to learn a language when you're a young child. The older you get, the harder it becomes. If you don't enforce English standards starting at daycare and preschool, when will these children be expected to learn English? And it will only get harder.
If these kids, though, are rocking up to preschool and daycare or whatever with no English whatsoever, how do they understand anything?
Well, if you're
like,
a 3-year-old
no
child, I mean, you pick it up, you do.
Well, I guess it means you've got to go a step further back again and really tighten up the criteria for people coming into this country with regards your ability to speak English. There's got to be some level of competency to come into Australia on a whatever sort of visa that people are issued, so that you don't have these ongoing generational problems that, let's face it, are not good for the kids, because it's going to be very hard to function at primary school and high school if you're not good with English. That came from someone who's just good with English. So you're doing a disservice to these kids in the name of kindness and compassion.
Yeah, of course. And I mean, we were talking the other night, weren't we, about, I forget what triggered us to talk about this particular case, but someone in the UK who was threatened by police that they would be accused of a hate crime if indeed they had said to someone, speak English. And they said, well, actually, I said speak up because I'm hard of hearing. But like, we've reached this point where people are afraid to vocalise the fact that in a country where English is the nation's language, that we should expect people to speak that language. Now, of course, you have different standards for tourists, but I wouldn't imagine that if I moved to France or I moved to Germany or I moved to Japan or wherever it might be, that I would just expect them all to go, oh yeah, old mate over there is speaking English and that's fine, and we'll just change the way we do things in order to accommodate him. Well, no, I've gone to their country. Therefore, I have to learn their language if I want to be a productive member of their society, don't
Caleb,
I?
you need to take a trip to France and expect them to address you in English and see how you...